Joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former ECU head basketball coach. He's been around. He joins us every Tuesday. He is Coach Mack McCarthy. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good. I'm good. It's almost March Madness. NASCAR is getting heated up, and all is good.
As I was telling you before we went on the air, I'm in a good headspace now. I'm over the football doldrums and football being over. I'm all in on college basketball, so I'm excited, ready to go for this final run in the regular season, and then we get to the conference tournaments. First conference tournaments begin next week, I believe. So I think there's one that starts on the fourth, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing one that starts on the 5th on that Friday. I think I do the
Is
sixth and
that
seventh.
CAA?
Yeah, I'm not sure what date it
Right.
Friday is, but I start next Friday, and there are a bunch of them start next week too. And most of the women's conference tournaments start next week. But yeah, you are the poster child for a big problem for college basketball that it took you this long to get into it. And it's not your fault, but I think a lot of people suffer from the same thing. And one problem that we've talked about before on this show, maybe multiple times, is that basketball is the only 2 semester sport, and it's a problem because football ending and the playoffs going longer now, and the NFL, and nobody starts watching basketball except for some big key matchups in November and December, except the real basketball fans. It's a problem, and I don't know that moving the start till December or even January makes it any better. Of course, I don't think that it'll ever happen because of the branding of March Madness, which is a little bit crazy. But you are the poster child for the problem that college basketball in particular faces.
I like Feast Week, and then I don't watch again until about now. While we're talking about problems, you're the problem um,
Sure.
with the NFL, and I don't know if people like you are around if the NFL is going to survive, Mac, without you watching.
Well, fortunately, almost everybody is a derelict gambler, and the NFL will survive because of that. But
I think so. Yeah.
the popularity of the NFL is absolutely tied to gambling and fantasy sports. So they'll be just fine without me and
Okay.
my meager wagering.
I think you're right. Another thing that gets me excited about college basketball is East Carolina winning and putting up 90 plus points in a win over UTSA. That was a fun one on Sunday, and I don't know how much Mike Schwartz enjoyed giving up over 80 points, but UTSA can score. They have a problem stopping people, and East Carolina took advantage of that. And now two more home games to round out the regular season, Coach Mack, and the Pirates still have a shot for the 4 seed in the American, where they would earn that bye, which would be nice. But Mike Schwartz and his team, man, they've really stuck with it, and good to see them getting wins here in late February.
Yeah, they're playing amazingly well, and I really wish the fans would get over, not fans just at East Carolina, but the fans all over would get over trying to make every game a referendum on the program and a referendum on the coaches and a referendum on the players. They're playing good basketball. They're not going to play great basketball every single night. That's not who they are, and that doesn't happen at the highest levels. Just ask a whole bunch of people from around the country as the top spots kind of change back and forth. Maybe outside of Auburn, but even Auburn laid an egg at home against Florida, and all of a sudden, they weren't doing everything right. But goodness gracious, please have some perspective. And again, I'm not talking about just Pirate fans. I deal with fans from all over the East Coast.
Couple of notes from last night. One thing that got me down on this ECU season was losing to North Alabama a few months ago.
Sure.
They now have 21 wins and are a machine, and I'll be following them. I hope they can win their conference tournament and make it to the NCAA tournament because they have the Lions have had a good season wherever the hell they are. Do you know where North Alabama is, Coach Mack?
Huntsville.
Okay, there you go.
I'm
Um,
pretty well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in Huntsville. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'll take your
I
word for it.
should know this, right?
I would think so. I would think you would know where every school is in Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Alabama.
Yeah, and I think I missed on Alabama because I just think Alabama Huntsville might be the only one in Huntsville. But yeah, not important. But to your point though, nobody knows what they have in November and December, and we
Yeah.
talked about that. And teams are all over the place. They're up and down. They're hunting for their, their line up to play on a regular basis, the rotation that they have. They're hunting the best way to play offensively and defensively. You're also going through injuries or guys not eligible yet. Uh, the, Trying to figure out a team in November and December is absolutely worthless because you just don't know until you get through start into the conference play and get through that first half of the conference season. Then you have a pretty good idea.
Also, last night we saw Houston go to Texas Tech and gut out a
Yeah.
win like Kelvin Sampson's teams usually do, suffocating on defense and got enough offense to maybe cut down the nets this year. North Carolina picking up a win over Florida State. And did you see today, Coach Mack? I don't know if this was out before today, but Hubert Davis has reportedly signed an extension to coach through 2030. We're talking about him being on the hot seat, and apparently has a huge extension at North Carolina.
Well, they're worried about football over there. They're not worried about basketball anymore.
Boy, things have changed, huh? Belichick runs that show now, not the basketball coach.
And
Yeah,
your guy at Houston, I know you're a big fan of Kelvin Sampson. The back to back going into from the American going into the Big 12 and win back to back championships. That's sort of a feather in the cap for the American. And then SMU doing something similar in football going into the ACC in their first year. And
a
maybe
feather,
people were sleeping on the American.
a feather in the cap for the American. What? What do we care? They're not with us anymore. And I
I
don't care to
understand.
I don't care to start with. I hate conferences. Conference pride. People that have conference pride make me sick these days. But anyway, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, last week it was you complaining about stuff. This week it's me. Um, Speaking of complaints, Max sent me a few links to follow. First, what's the one sports conspiracy you swear is 100% true? This is good because as a guy that coached as long as you have, you know some of the stuff that went on behind the scenes that you can't talk
Yeah.
about. We're trying to
I
get you
thought
to release the files.
I thought there were great answers in there. There are a lot of really good ones, some that I didn't remember, and some that it piqued my interest and made me think about things a little bit more. But I think that would be a great total show topic. Get
Yeah,
all your best sports conspiracies and try not to be a slave to just the things that have happened recently. Go back in time and maybe it's a particular game you thought was fixed for some big reason, or the Jordan thing was one of the more popular things. The fact that he was
yeah.
actually suspended, he didn't really retire, and that one sounds like it has some legs. But if you go public with that, you better have good attorneys and enough to pay them.
The Jordan thing was the first thing that came up to me. Jarrett, you got any like Raiders conspiracies? I'm sure you think everything's fixed against Al Davis's team, right?
No,
Would
I think the game is won on the field. There's no refs
Oh
or
wow, okay,
special
all right.
whatever involved.
Do you think
Oh,
all the people that say Eastern Carolina are doing it to hold ECU down, or is it an accident?
I think people in North Carolina that say it are just doing it to poke fun.
Okay, fair enough. Um, Coach Mack, second link you sent me was absolute BS. You you sent me some troll who said Memphis and Texas State are joining the Pac-12. It's not true. You know that, right?
not true today.
Coach, anything Coach Max sees about the Pac-12, he's all in because he's the last man standing.
I'm the
But
believer.
you are a believer. They still have a conference, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's still a thing. Bill Walton's still smiling down on the Pac-12, and then I feel like we had this last year. Was it North Carolina? But He sent me a tweet that says Auburn's starting lineup is nearly as old as Oklahoma City Thunder's starting lineup, and
Yeah,
they
less
are
than a
really
year
good, by the way,
difference.
right?
Yes.
Thunder are good, and we're gonna see this. I don't know with the COVID window closed now. Will we still see these old guys? I guess with the portal, you'll have grad transfers and all that. So
And they're giving waivers like crazy. I don't know. I talked to an SID yesterday at a CAA school, and he said he's given up on trying to figure out what year they are and what year, how
yeah,
many years they have left.
I
He
do
said
too.
I've got one guy I've listed as a senior for 3 years, and he's still on the roster.
That and hilarious but true. And like people ask me, and I should know it. Like, what year is a certain football player, or what year is Riley Johnson in baseball? What year is Jordan Riley in basketball? And I got to be honest, I don't follow it. I'm so year to year now that I'll just kind of worry about that in the off season. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
focused on what this team's going to do because my thought is they're going to look completely different next year. I saw somebody on a message board saying, Jay Shane Woodard might be back next year, and somebody said, "Well, why would he leave? What do you mean?" And it's like I'm more surprised if guys stay than if they leave at this point. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Not. I mean, you waste time trying to figure out if they've got eligibility left because they may not be there anyway.
exactly. All right, Coach Mag, I saw this, and I guess the West Coast Conference has been doing this, so it's not huge. But Jarrett and I were talking about it earlier. Have you seen the Sun Belt Conference tournament format?
I have. It's crazy. It's the funniest. It's the funniest bracket ever.
So if you are a bottom four seed in the Sun Belt, you literally have to play for a week straight to get to the
Yes.
NCAA tournament. You got to win
Yeah.
7 games because, and I like the idea of it because they're rewarding the best regular season teams, giving them the best chance to go to the big dance, right? Like, do
Yeah.
you like that side of it or are you against it?
I do like that side of it, and I like the home court advantage. If those teams all get together at one site, unless it's a school site, they're not going to draw big numbers anyway. So why not play at home and have a nice home court atmosphere? But goodness gracious, if you get on a run and you're one of those lower seeds, you're going to have some traveling to do.
Man, I didn't think about the travel part of it. So again, you're playing. I didn't look. Is it every night, or do they get some time in between? But
I think
anyway,
it's I think it's every night for a while. Yeah.
it's crazy. It is a true gauntlet format in the Sun Belt and the West Coast Conference. And by the way, for those not following, did a trivia question last night. Named I think it was 23 teams have 22 or more wins going into last night. 2 teams from the West Coast Conference fit the bill. Neither is Gonzaga. It's San Francisco and St. Mary's who are the teams, and I guess
Yeah.
St. Mary's is going to win the regular season, right?
Pretty amazing, isn't it? Yeah. You just assume it's Gonzaga.
Yeah, every year. All right. Let's see. Anything else in college basketball? Any games tonight? I have not really looked. I've big SEC night, I guess. Florida at Georgia, Tennessee at LSU, Mississippi State at Alabama, South Carolina, Missouri. As the SEC is carrying the flag as far as conferences go in college basketball this year.
Yeah, Missouri is just an incredible story. They went 0-18 last year, and there was an article this morning that they're one of the teams that could get to the Final Four. What an incredible turnaround by Coach Gates out there.
That I did not realize. 0-18. That is something for Mizzou and bouncing back this year. All right, Mac. Anything else basketball before we dive into NASCAR, Jared? You good on hoops for now? All right, Mac. I got to give you credit. Last week, after you complained about Atlanta for 15 minutes, I said just give me a winner, and you said Christopher Bell. Easy peasy. I saw so many people complaining Sunday night. I'm like, what's everybody bitching about? I just won a race. I just my guy just won. But I know controversy on, we got to finish the race, don't end on caution, all that. What's your take on it? I saw Clint Boyer say that, you know, yeah, we of course we want to finish it with a photo finish and all that, but at the same time, if you have favorite drivers, you do understand the safety part of it too, right? You don't want to be going so fast and you come around and clip somebody that's on the track or whatever. But what's your take on the finishing under caution and all that?
Well, nobody likes to finish under caution, but there are safety concerns. And if that had been at Daytona, you probably could have let them race back to the line. But because it was a mile and a half track and you had a lot of traffic behind the incident, they had to throw the flag. And I wasn't a fan of it either. I would love to have seen them race it out. I had my guys up there, Larson and Cindric. I had some of my guys up there in some late race cautions. And Carson Hocevar, I'm glad none of us picked him because he is now enemy number one. He even made Chastain mad, and everybody's usually mad at Chastain. But yeah, they NASCAR did the right thing in that situation. Again, I'm not a fan of what they've done to the Atlanta track, but it has made for great finishes, and I thought it was a good race, despite the fact that some of the late race accidents took out some of the better cars.
Side note, I hope people appreciate Mike Joy. And again, I'm not a huge NASCAR guy, but I think he's does a phenomenal job. And is he's got to be well respected in the NASCAR community, right, Coach? Or is it like anything? You got people that hate Mike Joy just because it's easy to
Yeah.
hate stuff.
You do, and he did have a hiccup the other day. Oh gosh, I'll try to think of what it was, but I noticed it at the time, and I'll text it to you later on. He did have a little foul up right there in one situation.
I think I just like his voice. It's very calming on a
Yeah,
Sunday to hear him.
yeah, it is, and that's a pretty good booth because Harvick and Boyer play off each other. I don't know of anybody who doesn't like Harvick as an announcer. I know some that didn't like him as a driver, and Boyer has got just enough enthusiasm about him and
He's kind of
enough.
the everyman in the booth, right? Like
Little
yeah.
bit, yeah, yeah. Hang out in the infield kind of guy.
Yeah, I like him. Heard a stat. Meant to use it at trivia last night. I think William Byron was trying to become the first driver to win the first two races of a season since. Do you know who, Coach Mack?
Oh gosh, I
I
do
don't know
not.
what year it would have been. I believe Matt Kenseth was the answer to that trivia
Wow,
question. So there you
wow, I did not know that. That would have been a good one.
go. Jared, let's get a quick standings update before we look ahead to this Sunday. What are the numbers?
Yeah, going into this weekend, Mac was up +2 points. You were 0, and I was -1. And you got the winner again with Christopher Bell. And you had the best average, squeaking me out by .4 spots.
You know what the difference was? Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and I had Brad Keselowski, who finished dead last, so that also sucked. But yeah, only thing me and Mac did was have one driver not finish. Ty Gibbs for him and Brad Keselowski for me.
So what are the standings?
Week 2, coming out of week 2, Clip has 5 points. Mac, you were at 1, and I am now at -2. I'm getting there. It's a long season. Marathon, not a sprint.
There you go.
I love you being in the negative after 2 races. But then again, that could any of us could get there,
Yeah.
depending on what happens. All right, so we are where we're in Austin, Texas, coming up Sunday,
Yeah.
March 2nd.
Circuit of the America?
Yep. And wait a minute. No. Yes.
Yes, yes, Coda.
Coach
Yes.
Mack's already shaking his head. What are you going to complain about this week, Mac?
Well, we have too many of these. And it's a beautiful track. It's a great setting, great town. We don't need another road course. And Coda is not special to me. It's special to Formula One, IndyCar, all that kind of stuff, but not to NASCAR. I'm sorry.
Back in my day, we had what Watkins Glen, and there was one other that used to run.
Sonoma.
So yep. I mean, and now we've got like
The Roval is the
yeah.
worst thing in the world. I hate it.
Oh, 100%, Jared. You're exactly right.
So who are the road course guys we should watch out for this week?
Shane Van Gisbergen. That's
He's the best.
All right. How about of the drivers we drafted? Like Chase Elliott's pretty good, right?
yeah. Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher, I saw, has the best average
D-
finish on road
Denny
courses
Hamlin.
in the next gen cars. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, pretty good.
Okay.
Austin Cindric is good, and Chase Briscoe are good for guys that are not big name guys.
How about my guy? Okay, if I get this, I'm doing something. Is it Boris Said? Was that his name?
Yes, yes,
I just randomly remember him like he was a road course guy, right?
he is
Uh,
the road course guy. Yeah.
yeah, this is early in the season for a road course. What track are you looking forward to, Mac? We got Phoenix Raceway, Las Vegas.
Phoenix.
Okay,
Yep.
you're good with
Both
that.
those are good. Both
Las
those are good.
Vegas, Homestead, Miami, and
Martinsville,
then
March
Martinsville,
30th.
March
Yes.
30th.
I'll be there.
Mac McCarthy will be there with bells on. All right, Coach Mac, good stuff, man. Well, so are you done until your conference tournament, or you got more games to call?
No, I may have a women's radio game or two between now and then, but pretty much I'm prepping for the CAA, and I'll actually go see a couple games in person because I can get down to William and Mary and to Hampton, and I could even get down to Elon or North Carolina A&T if it falls right on the schedule. But yeah, I'm done on TV until then.
Big win by UNCW at William and Mary last night.
That was a big win. William and Mary they were undefeated at home and doing a great job and having one of their better years in a long time, scoring a bunch of points, 85 points a game at home. UNCW can really guard you. They don't score like the last couple teams they had, but they can really guard you. They may be. Towson has the best record, but UNCW might have the best team in the CAA.
Mac, enjoyed it, man. Fun as always. We'll check in with you next week.
Thank you, guys.